What's this guy supposed to be, the ultimate badass?
What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing tonight, man? What's up, Mike?
Cowboys blog in the building. What's up, dude?
What's going on, bro?
Man, not a whole lot. Not a whole lot. Just been willing and dealing.
Hey, dude. How about them Cowboys, man?
Ain't nothing how about nothing with them. They're a disaster. They're like Hurricane Katrina and Hurricane Harvey all in one. Just a disaster.
Yeah, man. Cowboys, they're in the no man's zone, no man's land right now. It's ugly right now, bro. So right now we're gonna talk about the Cowboys, bro. You know, we got to find out what the plan is, Mike. Let's talk about Dak Prescott, bro. Supposedly the injury is worse than we thought. Muscle torn off the bone, hamstring. So, you know, there's going to be time out there, Mike. What's your thoughts on that there?
Joe, let's take a look at Dak Prescott's injury. He had the ankle dislocation, the ankle fracture, right? He had the calf strain. He had a shoulder. He had the thumb fracture, and now he has this. The major injuries, Joe, are where? The waist down. Dak Prescott is an older quarterback, and he's straightened calves. He's ripping hamstrings off the bone. And all Dak did to do that was throw a football, something he's been doing his whole life. So next year, less tread, possible more injury prone. He just got a fresh contract.
Yeah.
Fresh contract, Joe.
Yeah, not good. Not good at all, man. Just not going to be able to get it done at this point, dude. You know, and then obviously he's in his 30s. You know, this is when Romo started falling apart. So we're seeing the parallels. They're eerily similar, Mike. Like eerily similar. So Cowboys, they need to consider altering their draft plan, man, because, you know, I think a lot of us saw this season coming, right? We saw this as probably a down year with the lame duck coach, but we want to see this team start winning. So you got to protect yourself next year. You know what I mean? So do you bring back Cooper Rush, Trey Lance, or do you draft a quarterback, Mike? Like, what's your gut feeling on what do you think the Cowboys are going to do versus what you would do?
I take my chances and draft a quarterback now and develop him, kind of like the way the Packers did Jordan Love, right? Drafted him. He sat behind Aaron Rodgers for a long time. He played 1 year, then he got his new deal. What was that? He sat on the bench for 4 years. Dak Prescott, it's the same situation. Go get you a quarterback, Let them sit there. Develop them. Because Mike McCarthy got on the podium and talked about it today. Like, he's encouraging quarterbacks to stay as long as possible in college before making the trade to the NFL, because the NFL has gotten so soft in developing quarterbacks that it's when they get in the league, they have to be thrown to the fire. And there's not a lot you could do to develop those quarterbacks. That's why there's so many busts, right? So get them the quarterback now that's going to replace Dak, because you're not going to want to sign Dak to an extension at the age of 36. You're just not going to do that. So let him sit behind. I don't care if it's 4 years, 5 years, whatever the case might be. Get him developed, and have your replacement ready to go.
Very good. Very good, man. We got a special guest tonight because we're talking draft. We've got Danny Savage, draft guru, in the house. What's up, Danny?
Thank you so much. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Mike, having me on. I appreciate it a lot. Thank you.
Thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. You know, we bring in the guys that know what they're talking about. We bring in the guys that we respect in this circle. And it's Danny Savage, man. You know, been rocking with Danny here for quite a while. Official member of the Frisco Report and all of our cohorts. You know what I mean? So Danny,
I told you years ago, I go, you have a real job, because you say it like it is. And
yeah, man.
Very few people say it like it is. They want to do this full time, but you say the truth. And I said that to you years ago. And that's what attracted me to this channel.
Oh,
and
man.
Cowboys Corner and everybody.
Oh, we appreciate you, bro, very much. And yeah, man. So Danny, so what we're talking about here is what should we do with the quarterback position now that we're seeing the wheels are starting to fall off Dak now, right?
Yeah.
So do they take a look at Cooper Rush, Trey Lance, or do you draft a quarterback? What would you do, and what do you think the Cowboys will do? Give me those 2 points of view.
Me personally, I would have traded Cooper Rush. I can't see how not one of the 31 teams called us yesterday. You're telling me Cooper Rush couldn't start on the Raiders, a few other teams? We've seen what we've seen from Cooper Rush.
Yeah.
He ain't going to have any more higher ceiling. We have more invested in Trey Lance. Jerry gave away a fourth for Trey Lance. So it's a perfect scenario for Trey Lance. You know, Dak rips his hamstring, and let's throw him out there now. Now he's not out there with all the preseason, fourth stringers, fifth stringers. He's out there with the young guys. I mean, he's out there with the ones. So, I mean, if you're – listen, I think Cooper Rush is going to have a short leash, especially with Jerry pulling all the strings, but I think they're going to throw Trey Lance in fast. Because why not? They're both free agents after the season.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking like, why don't they have some packages for at least Trey Lance? Like, I hope that they get his feet wet at least in this game. Like, just give him some package plays. You know what I mean? Stay competitive, but don't really win. You know what I mean? Like you and I were talking offline.
Lose.
Let's creep up into that top 8 and then keep organically losing, because I
agree with you 1,000%. I would hate for any quarterback to eke out 2 wins at the end of the season. The only good thing, I could be wrong, but I think the last 2 games of the season is Philly and the Redskins.
Right.
So I think Philly and Washington are going to be fighting for the division and a wild card spot. One of those teams are getting a wild card, and because I think the other 2 wild cards are coming out of the NFC North. But now I got a question for you guys. What do you think now? Let's say hypothetically we're picking 3-4. Do you think we're going to pick a quarterback, or is Jerry going to get that quarterback tax haul, get a haul of draft picks, and move back?
The way these guys have been drafted in the last couple of years, I don't trust them, man. The value, right? Like Like you would think we would get a haul of picks, but knowing these guys, we won't, bro.
Yeah.
That's scary to me. I don't trust these guys with trade value.
No,
Nobody should.
You're right. We've been getting rickrolled on trades.
I mean, we've been getting freaking ripped, fleeced left and right. Man,
but
it's crazy.
you know, they say around the league there's a quarterback tax. If you're calling up another team, I look at drafting this way, trading. If you're calling me, so you're calling me, you're going to agree to what I want. And if you're coming up for a quarterback, you got to pay the quarterback tax. It's like the cheese. It's like the cheese tax for all our dogs. You got to pay the dog the cheese tax.
Yeah.
You want a quarterback? I'm hitting you extra harder over the head.
Yeah.
And
no, that's exactly what it is. That's what it is, man. So, but like you said, like if we were in the top 3, you know, ideally, if you're that high, you need to come out of there with a quarterback, in my opinion. You know, I mean, how often are you going to be that high where you have, you know, the opportunity to get your quarterback? You know,
the last time we were in the top 5, I think, was 2016. But before that was 89 with Aikman, and then 90 we took Steve Walsh in a supplemental draft in 1990 on a run. No, I agree with you too, but are they gonna invest in a top 5 quarterback and then him sit 3-4 years behind Dak?
I honestly don't see Dak even finishing out his contract physically, bro. He's taking on a lot of major. Oh, he'll be back. It's a muscle. It's not a ligament.
I thought it's off the bone. They're saying now.
I mean, for real, bro. Like as regular guys, you know, we've all have pulled a hamstring. That's painful, but to tear it off the bone, bro, like you're not going to be the same.
Yeah. Throwing a football, you weren't even running. You were throwing a football.
That's the other thing about it. Like how crazy is that? You know, I mean these are red flags.
Starting to break down.
Starting to break down. He's always hitting his hand on the helmets and jamming that and breaking that, and you're starting to miss games, and you're starting to, you know what I mean, just get this team behind the 8 ball, and they're not good enough to overcome, you know, these types of windows.
Nah. Listen, we all didn't want Dallas to re-sign Dak. We're like the minority out there, but it's hopefully more people will jump on the bandwagon and actually see the truth. You know, we don't have any desires to be friends with these players, you know, and we don't want to work for Dallas. We just want to see Super Bowls. But
that's what we want, man. We want to win, you know what I mean? But the state of the Cowboys right now, it's prohibitive, you know, this front offices.
Yeah.
I mean, let's hit on this Mingo move briefly, man, because I haven't talked to y'all really in depth about it. Let's talk about that real quick, man. Mike, what's your thought, man? Does this move the needle at all for you? Everybody in the chat box, how do y'all feel about the Mingo move, man?
Woof. Joe, I'm in a group chat with Savage, and obviously we talk, you know, via text and stuff during the business hours, and I sent you a picture of Mingo, and I was like, is this a defensive end or is it a wide receiver?
Yeah, big.
You're a wide receiver. Pat Mahomes is a quarterback, so he can get away with a little beer gut belly. A wide receiver, a tight end might be able to.
Yeah.
Eddie Lacy was able to do it as a running back. But you don't see a lot of wide receivers with the beer belly out there running. And that's what he got.
Yeah, he was a good.
You got drafted in the 2nd round with the Carolina Panthers. I think it was like 39th overall.
Yeah. Cowboys
had a 3rd round grade on you. You have 121 yards receiving right now, in this year. Like, what are you doing with your life? You're supposed to be professional. You're worse than Dak Prescott pulling a hamstring, throwing a football. Right now, in this moment, you got to eat right. You got to be right. You got to condition yourself. And he's the opposite of what that looks like.
Yeah, he has 55 catches in 2 years, 0 touchdowns with a 10-yard average per catch. And I get it. Carolina is where quarterbacks go to die, but they must have had like a high grade on this kid in last year's draft. Who knows? Maybe they even called up Carolina trying to move up to get him. But the weirdest thing is you lose your franchise quarterback, and then you go out and trade for a wide receiver. And I've been saying since May, Jerry's going to pull a dumb stunt before the trade deadline. I thought he would have overpaid for a running back. At this point, I would have rather him overpaid for a running back than overpaying for a wide receiver.
Yeah. The scary thing about it is, and I'm already seeing people defending this move by the front office, but I just don't see Jerry as going lone wolf on this. He had to have consulted with the front office guys.
Great question. Who do you think? McClay, his son? Who do you think made the final decision?
I think McClay went along with it, man. I think he said, "Oh, well, he was a 30 visit. We liked him and this and that." But dude, like, why, dude? Why a fourth though? You know what I mean? Like, he's not a fourth.
No, not even close, man.
So it's funny you mentioned that because we talked about that on Fifth Quarters Live just less than an hour ago. And this the same topic got brought up. And I said they called Jerry. And Jerry said, let me talk to Will McClay. Brought in Will McClay. Will McClay brought in his binder, fumbled through it, and said, Jerry, we had a 3rd-round grade on him. Jerry said, I'll give you a 4th. And Jerry really thinks and give me a 7th. I'll give you a 4. Give me Mingo. Give me a 7th. We got a deal. Because Will McClay said, Jerry, you know what? We had a 3rd-round grade on him.
And that's the other part about it too is I think McClay has lost his touch, dude. Like I didn't have Mingo as I didn't have him graded high. I didn't like the player, man. Honestly, I didn't think he was going to do anything.
I don't even remember talking about him.
Yeah, it's just a terrible move, man. Like he's basically you traded for a camp body. Can you believe that crap?
Well, here's what I'm thinking. All right.
Yeah.
They're trying to fix their wide receiver spot for next year because Jalen Brooks or Jalen Tolbert, one of the Jalens ain't going to be here next year, right? Turpin might not even be here next year. So they're trying to dip into that wide receiver class from the draft. Maybe they like it. Maybe they don't like it high, right? I think they're trying to set with this Mingo move. It screams this is a next year thing, right? Whether that's camp body, whether that he works out or not, whatever. But it screams tight ends taken care of. We got wide receiver taken care of. Quarterbacks taken care of. It tells me they probably drafted a running back in the 1st round.
Yeah, and that's the thing I'm scared about too is the built-in excuse because that's what they did with the running back position, right? They're like, oh, we got Rico, we got Zeke, we can forego drafting a running back, and they took it on the chin, man. Big mistake right there.
If Jerry drafts a running back in the top 10, it's to sell jerseys. Have we learned anything from the 2016 draft? We had Ezekiel Elliott, Jalen Ramsey. Ezekiel Elliott's running like he has a turd in his pants. Jalen Ramsey is almost a decade later still the highest paid corner in the NFL. In just my 2 cents, it's become a running back by committee league, but you got to have good running backs. You can't throw 3 old men back there. I personally would love to come out of this draft with 2 running backs, and I would keep Rico as a 3rd. That's just my opinion.
And to that point, we could have had Ramsey, right? And I could say the same thing. We could have drafted Henry, who's with the Ravens now. Mm-hmm. And would he still be a Cowboy right now playing at this level, right? I mean, Zeke had a lot of miles at Ohio State. Yeah. What they did to DeMarco Murray was the blueprint of how they were going to use Zeke. So that's even more miles. That's why Zeke only lasted 2.5 years in the National Football League.
DeMarco Murray probably would have lasted if he didn't have his fumbling issue. If he just didn't fumble. I mean, his last year with us, I think he had 7 fumbles. And
he had 400 touches? You're bound to fumble eventually. He was just at crucial moments.
Yeah, he had one in the playoff game against Green Bay. It was always, like you said, in bad moments. Yeah.
Oh, bro, I'm low-key faded, bro.
Why is he even on the team, man? Why?
Who is that?
Zeke. Why?
Why is Deuce Vaughn on the team?
because his dad works for the team.
I mean, the way they operate this roster is wild, man. I mean, it is just crazy stuff, dude, that we do here, man. You know, you got nepotism all over the place. You got placehold. You got backups who are starters, right? So I knew that committee wasn't gonna work, man. I just knew it, dude. I wasn't buying the bait in camp. Camp is hype time now. I don't buy anything I'm seeing from camp anymore. It's fun. Yeah, hang out with friends, go watch it. But it's all hype now, bro.
One last thing on the Mingo thing, which I hated even more, is if Dallas's record keeps going the way it is, that 4th round pick is going to be like a late 3rd round pick. That even hurts worse because now we have to hope to get a 4th comp, and that's going to be all the way at the end. So we're going to go like a 60 to 80 round gap before picking again, unless we trade up.
Yeah, and these guys haven't done that much, so you know, this year they might have to, man. They might just have to be like, we're going to trade back into the 4th, use a future pick
or a compensatory pick.
Yes, it's like, and then with all the 5th round picks, we're sorry at the 5th round. We've had so many bad picks in the 5th round. It's I always get scared, and I've talked to Mike about this, that those large Cowboys draft classes, for whatever reason, these guys they take their foot off the pedal, scouting or whatever they're doing, and they're terrible draft classes, man.
Oh yeah, you got what? Nashawn Wright as a 3rd round pick. We had 3 3rd round picks, and they blew. They were not. We don't even know who they are anymore.
Golston was 1, Osa was 2, and I think Nashawn was the 3rd. I believe. I could be mistaken though.
Yeah, no,
that's Dan Quinn. I'm sorry, Dan Quinn set this defense back 5 years. I'm sorry. Quentin Polana can play for the Seahawks, but he can't play for Dallas. John Ridgway can play for other teams, but he can't play for Dallas.
Yeah, they've definitely been making some critical mistakes. So, yeah, man, the Mingo pick, I think, I mean, it's just, we're all being real, man. It was a crazy move, bro. Like, it's almost like, are we being pranked? Like
I said punked.
Yeah.
I
said by Friday in the Dallas community, he'll be Randy Moss with all the videos out there. He'll be the next Randy Moss by Friday.
They couldn't try for a running back.
I would have rather overpaid for a running back at this point.
Like, really? Like, teams call Jerry for running back because it's the obvious need. I want to know what Jerry said at those teams. Like, no, we're gonna be okay here with Cowboys.
Well, and now you hear about this whole Zeke thing about he's having issues, private issues. I think that Jerry just did him a solid, bro, and it really screwed up this ability for us to do anything in the running game. He's giving him a paycheck. I don't know if he feels sorry for him. Supposedly he might even be broke.
How's that possible? He had to make like over $60 million.
These guys blow money
look
like crazy.
Look how he spends his money. He bought the whole offensive line ATVs 1 year.
They say the majority of NFL players, out of all the sports, they go broke as the quickest.
80% of them go broke
within 3 to 4 years, and they say they're the biggest ballers because when they go to a club, since they have to wear a helmet, unless you're like the top 10, 15 in the NFL, none of the girls know who you are. So when they go to the club, they have to, announce themselves and spend all the money because they're wearing a helmet and nobody sees who they are.
That's what it is. They got to be juiced up with the diamonds and bling, and it's it's quick to drop.
That's crazy. I didn't hear that part. If he was hurting for money.
Yeah, so he's got issues going on there, man.
If Adrian Peterson can go broke, anybody can go broke.
But yeah, AP, bro.
Warren Sapp went broke. Warren Sapp.
Well, he dipped into real estate at the wrong time.
Look at Brady. He lost like $20 million in that crypto scam thing with that young kid.
Hey, didn't Trevor Lawrence even get paid in crypto?
I guess then. I guess Zeke will be the next running back coach. Then I guess.
See, I wouldn't mind that, right? Like,
I'm just 78%. I'm not making up numbers.
Yeah, I know it's hard.
78%. It was 80% of players go broke.
That's crazy, man.
Come on, people. Google's free. Google is free.
oh, no, I mean, not even Google. Like they've talked about this on NFL Network. They've talked about it in the off season. You know, they do these clinics, right? So,
Yeah, you would think. I mean, especially Jerry. Jerry's a genius when it comes to money. He can't have his financial advisors tell these guys like where to put their money. I mean, but I don't know. I guess not. I don't know.
Yeah, nah, these young guys, they don't know what to do with their money. They go crazy. You know, can you imagine being a young 20-year-old?
Oh, I'd be dead.
With,
Listen, I'd be honest. If I had that kind of money at 21, I'd be dead.
dude,
I'm being honest. So I get
Yeah.
it, man.
Oh, yeah.
I get it. But now you would think it would go down a little when you see all these kids getting the NIL millions, because some of them are millionaires already when they come to the NFL. So they, should have a little bit better head on their shoulders, financial wise.
Yeah. No, that's what it is, bro. Danny, so we're gonna talk about quarterbacks, bro, because it's a talk that we have to have. You know
Definitely.
what I mean? I think before the Dak injury, it was like, okay, it's gonna be a down year. Dak's here for the long haul. But now, the ankle in the offseason, they covered it up, remember? Oh, he's in a boot. Well, what the hell? Out of nowhere, he was in a boot. Like, and then they just shrugged it off as, oh, hey, don't look over here. He's in a boot. Don't look over here. Like, so dinged up, man. Dinged up. And we got to protect ourselves, right? I mean, if we want to be a serious franchise next season and start building up, you got to be prepared.
Let's get the monster out of the room first. A lot of our fan base is going to want Shedeur Sanders out of Colorado on quarterback. My thing with him is he does have a slender build. He's 6'2", 210. He's never had a good offensive line ever, so I'll give him that. I will give him that. But how many owners or coaches in the NFL want to deal with the monster circus that he's going to come with?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I know Jerry would want to deal with that circus. He'd want Prime back on the sideline and all the celebrities. I personally don't have him ranked as high as a lot of others, but he's that name. He's going to be looking to tour with Lil Wayne or whatever the guy's name is in the offseason. He's a rapper. I mean, to me, he's a late first rounder in my eyes. I don't know if also, too, he grew up with a silver spoon in his mouth. He's not hungry. He's a millionaire. There's a lot. I mean, I'm nitpicking, though. I am nitpicking. But that's what I have to do when I look at a player. But he has talent, and he's never had a good offensive line. So, but
yeah.
I just don't know if we're going to draft a quarterback and let him sit for 3 years, 2 years. I don't know. I mean, one kid I love is Cam Ward out of Miami, Washington State transfer. Nobody was really giving him that much shade. I mean, nobody's talking about him that much preseason, but he put up sick numbers in my eyes at Washington State. And then he goes to Miami and he's on fire, and he can beat you a little bit with his legs. But the one thing that scares me with Cam Ward from Miami, he'll just throw a pass once in a while, and you want to smack him in the side of the head like, yo, what are you thinking? Like, he'll run all the way to the right and throw a pass across his shoulder. And then you just see the DB taking it back for an interception, for a touchdown. He's a guy that he's the Heisman favorite right now. He's a little bit bigger. He's 6'2", 230. He's built more like a running back. He has more experience. He's been around. He's someone that lately has flown up the draft boards. Listen, the way Miami's going to lose this year is their defense, because their offense is averaging like 50 points, but their defense is giving up like 30 points plus. So he's a name to watch that I see him. But to me, Heisman Trophy does not equate to a great NFL quarterback, in my opinion.
And I like the Cam Ward, example there, and I like him more than Sanders is because he weighs like 10, 15 pounds heavier.
He's a bigger kid
than Sanders.
Absolutely.
But Space here said, "Do you think we have a chance at another high draft pick? That's why Atlanta took Michael Penix. Do you build the roster first and go after another developmental quarterback at 26 or 27?" Joe, go ahead.
Man, this is a great question by Space Cowboy. Shout out to Space Cowboy. Give him a follow, man. That known Space for a long time. Great guy, man. So, honestly, bros, this is what I would do. And I know a lot of people are gonna like this, dude. But if you're gonna rebuild this team and get serious, I think you got to consider trading Micah next offseason before the draft. Get you a first this year. That way you have 2 firsts this year and get you another first for next year. And then, bro, Arch motherfucking Manning up in this bitch, bro. Let's go, dude. Like, I want to have 2 picks this year. You can start rebuilding. Maybe you don't get your quarterback. But 2026, if Arch Manning comes out, you go all in, bro.
Yeah.
Go all the hell the way in. Use your 2s that you have. If you need to use a future third, get him. Get him in here.
I'll give you Micah 2.0, and he's much bigger. Abdul Carter out of Penn State, 6'3", 260. The kid's a monster. Out of Philadelphia. He's Micah 2.0, but bigger. But he's only 6'3", 260. We also have a lot of bigger traditional 4-3 edges. You got James Pierce out of Tennessee. He's like 6'5", 250. You got Mikael Williams out of Georgia. He plays whatever he wants on Georgia.
Let me ask you this, Savage. Let me ask you this, and Joe, maybe you could contest with this too. Do we see the Cowboys with drafting Maurice Luafau and getting overshown? Do we see them really sticking with the 4-3, or do they go to a 3-4 under the next? Like, let's say they bring Belichick in here. Belichick wants to bring Vrabel in here. Vrabel does the 3-4. Can you see that?
If we get Abdul Carter, 100%, I go 3-4, 100%. But we have to resign Goldston. He's a 5-tech, in my opinion.
Yeah. I agree. I agree on that too. You've got some pieces here to run a 3-4. You just need to add a few more, but you can get those.
Arkansas got a grade 5-tech. This kid Landon Jackson. He has that disease where he has no hair all over him, so a lot of people make fun of him. He has no eyebrows, no hair, but the kid's like 6'7", 290, and they got him playing edge. He's probably going to slide inside it and
get him because the last guy with no hair and eyebrows demolished us in Arizona.
He's a perfect 5-tech, the kid from Arkansas, and that's Jerry's alma mater too. But he really doesn't go there that much.
Yeah, that's a great question though from Space. So yeah, first of all, you gotta who on the roster could you get high value and high picks? Are we tired of the Micah? Spiel? Are we tired of the podcasting, the disappearing in games? Is he overrated or is he too small? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like if you're gonna make that move, it needs to be this season. Kind of do what the Raiders did with Khalil Mack. They moved him. They got a treasure trove, a king's ransom for him. So
no, I agree with you. He disappears the second half of the season. To this day, I truly don't know what position he is. I'll show you a million plays of him walking around on the field like he's looking for his dog. Yet he's a product of the Dallas hype machine. Mm-hmm. If you look at Hassan Reddick's stats the last 3 years, him and Mike is kind of similar. But you don't see Hassan Reddick saying, make me the highest paid player in the NFL. If some team offers me a haul, bye.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see what they do at the head coach position because I feel like and we talked about this before that they never completely clear out the staff. There's always somebody still here and the next staff inherits that person, whether it's your OC or DC or linebackers coaches. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't remember the last time these guys were allowed to clean house. You know what I mean?
Because Jerry's doing all the. If anyone comes back, I can see Zimmer, but you have to give him the personnel he wants. Someone just put out a good question, but I went down. They were talking about this kid Deone Walker from Kentucky. He's dropped down a little bit in his rankings because, this kid is 6'6", 350, and he's a dancing bear. In my opinion, he had better 2023 tape, but this kid is at 6'6", 350. He plays 5-tech sometimes, standing up, and he makes tackles behind the line of scrimmage. That is a big monster to work around. He's probably top 3. He's in the top 3 for defensive tackles.
That's a good one there. He's a big boy, as we say here. So, Danny, draft guru, bro. So let's say we stay here in the top 8, maybe top 10, right? Let's say Shador comes off the board and Cam Ward comes off the board.
Okay, I don't want, and this kid is flying up the boards, is Penn State's Drew Aller. He is the NFL's prototypical quarterback. He's 6'5", 240. His deep ball sucks. His deep ball is horrible. His deep ball is so bad. His number 1 wide receiver last year, Keandre Lambert-Smith, left, transferred to Auburn. This kid is a straight speedster, wide receiver, and he's at 9 touchdowns already. I can see the Giants going after Drew Aller. He's a prototypical quarterback in the Dallas mode of his size. Another kid I like huge, and he's been around a while, and no one's really talking about this kid. Curtis Rourke, Indiana. Indiana has a brand new coaching staff. He came from James Madison, and he brought about 25 players with him. Curtis Rourke, he's 6'5", 240. He's at Canada. He played at Ohio in the MAC conference. He had over 7,600 yards, over 50 touchdowns, and over 1,200 yards rushing. And he's led Indiana, and Indiana's 8-0 right now. They're running a spread offense, and he's going off, and he's not getting any love whatsoever. Then there's another kid I like a lot, but he's just lacking in the height department, and that's Dylan Gabriel out of Oregon. He can do anything you want. His issue is he's 5'10", and Jerry Jones is not going to pull the trigger on a 5'10" quarterback. There's another sleeper, this kid Donovan Smith out of Houston, Texas Tech transfer. He's 6'5", 230, prototypical size. Will Howard, Ohio State. I do like Quinn Ewers from Texas. I do. I know he's not the biggest. They got him listed at 6'2", 210.
His build reminds me of Zach Wilson. So I'm curious, can he take the hits at the NFL level? You know what I mean? And he's missed some time there at Texas.
Good injuries, yes.
Yeah, he's had a couple of times where Archie's had to come in there. So yeah, no, I like him too. I'm just I'm with you on that one too, Danny. It's like
then there's another kid. I put him down as an athlete, but his numbers are sick. Jordan McLeod from Texas State, bro. He's a South. This kid this is what we deal with in college football. South Florida. He's been at South Florida. He's been in Arizona. He's been at James Madison. Now he's at his 4th, 5th college, Texas State. But this kid is legit like a 35, 40 touchdown passer. and he's going to run for another 2,000 yards or 20 touchdowns. Once again, his problem is he's 6'205", and he didn't put up these giant numbers at the bigger schools. He put the majority of his numbers at the lower levels. I can assure you, do not draft any quarterbacks for Penn State. Yeah, I'm not a fan of Drew Aller, but I am a fan of their tight end, Tyler Warren. He's my number one tight end. He's a 6'6", 260, more athletic Gronkowski, in my opinion. But,
they've been putting out some good. Penn State. I think they're pretty well known for their O line and tight end, like you said, man. And we got Theo Johnson making plays here for the Giants.
He was my third ranked tight end.
Yeah,
I loved him.
He's looking like the real deal Holyfield. And here we are with our second round bust.
You got Leonard from Notre Dame. He's kind of he's kind of sliding a little bit. I mean, but I'm going to be honest with you. It's mid-season. Things can change. But I don't think this is going to be a typical draft where you see quarterbacks go like 1, 2, 3, 4, in my opinion. I think probably Travis Hunter might be the first pick off the board.
Travis Hunter definitely going to be a top 5 pick, I would think, barring some sort of, something comes up, right? I'm curious to see the medicals on Genty. And I mean, there's always something. There's always to be something with these Boise kids at the running back position. Do you remember who's one guy that Boise had here running all over the place, and then the draft time came up. We
drafted a few Boise State kids over the years.
The A-Train, I believe it was. What was his name, man? He went to Philly, I believe, but he was a bruiser.
What scares me with Gentry is he's 5'8", 210. If he goes to the Senior Bowl, which I doubt, I want to see him do pass blocking drills against linebackers. They're going to run his ass over. In my opinion, this running back class is crazy deep. So I wouldn't touch, just me personally, I wouldn't touch Gentry in the top 15.
Yeah.
He has crazy numbers, but if you look at Caleb Johnson from Iowa, he has 20 touchdowns too, and he's in the Big Ten, and he's bigger. But this year, what's good about this year's running back class is there's big ones, small ones, skinny ones, bruisers, whatever you want, we got. Quarterback is, it's like I said, teams are going to look at some quarterback like they like them, and then there's like certain situations like New York Giants. The New York Giants, like prototypical 6'5", 230 pounds, squeaky clean quarterbacks type of teams. The Raiders, you could be a little bit off, but as long as you're on a 4-3, they're going to take you. So some teams do have drafting patterns, but I don't know if we're going to see. If Shador goes off and blows off goes crazy at the combine, I think he will get overdrafted, but he's definitely talented.
Yeah, no, I think he'll definitely be there. Mike, what is your thought as far as like at the end of the day, do the Cowboys draft a quarterback? And if they did, Mike, where in this draft would you see them throwing a pick at a quarterback?
As early as we are in Dak Prescott's deal, next year will be the first year in that new deal. And, they could do like the Ben DiNucci type 7th round pick stuff next year if they wanted to, get somebody behind. I really think they're going to re-sign Trey Lance. So, so you'll have Dak, Trey Lance, and you'll have that 7th round pick guy there. If they don't, they'll ride with those two quarterbacks, maybe get an undrafted free agent. Maybe they'll get another veteran off in free agency, a no-name, camp-body type guy, and keep him as your third emergency quarterback. But if they want to develop that young guy, they can do that. But it's going to be like that Ben DiNucci 7th round type guy.
Yeah, I could definitely see them doing that. Yeah, definitely. Just the way these guys are. But if they do moving Micah and having a one this year, next year, I think we're in business, man.
Absolutely. Or one more thing of value, I think, is Trevon Diggs. If you gave me a chance right now, and you have to listen to your doctors on this one, that's why you're paying the millions. But if they're telling you Deron Bland is going to be Deron Bland, besides he getting toasted in the Seattle game versus I'm trying to think who toasted Metcalf toasted him. He comes up and tackles. You could probably get him cheaper than what you signed Diggs.
But I want to see Deron Bland play a snap this year before I even talk about that scenario.
Yeah, no, of course. But you know, like Jerry loves Dollar Store, and if he can get him at a discount coming off an injury, he will. And if a team's willing to give you a 1 or more, there's a team out there that will give you a 1 for Diggs. It just seems like he makes way too many business decisions. And I get it. I can get you making a business decision in practice or a preseason game. But like when you're in the playoffs and you make a business decision on Kittles, and you even do it in regular season, I
think but we've seen Trayvon Diggs go up and make the game-winning tackles, right? Go out and put his body on the line. I think what's different is he's coming off the ACL, and he knows this team sucks.
No, you're right.
So it's like, do I risk my body for this shitty team? And I'm coming back off the ACL. So I get that business decision standpoint. I do. But you have when it's time to go make the play, I need you to make the play. No matter what the score is. If the ball's in play, Diggs, that's your ball to go get.
No, I agree with you.
Yeah. I'll say another quarterback that I like out of here is Jackson Dart out of
Ole Miss.
Yeah, I saw him in a game where they were going back and forth. It was an LSU game, and man, this guy, he has that, kind of like Leonard from Notre Dame. These guys, they have that mentality where they're not going to die until the last second is run on the clock. So
the only knock on him is he's like up and down. He's been up and down this season. That's the only knock on him.
Yeah. So he has a little bit of that in him. I want to see what he does here, to finish out the season. But he could be a guy. I wouldn't say I would take him in the first, right? Jackson Dart, I would say, you could get him a little bit later, But if he's there, I would consider throwing him into the mix, whether it's with Trey Lance or whoever, as your backups and start to develop there. But start adding quarterbacks, you know what I mean? Start getting your feet wet, you know what I mean? Like if just start drafting these guys, But there's a lot of quarterbacks coming out in this draft class, you know what I mean? Like it's kind of deep as far as like where you can get. I mean, you're gonna have Milroe. I'm not a big fan of.
He's don't even get me started with him.
And then you got Nussmeier, he's another inconsistent guy. Who
is that? Doug's son.
He's his coach. His dad used to be our quarterback coach.
Yeah, Doug Nussmeier.
Yeah,
that's bad.
Yeah. So,
I think if they resign Lance, they might try to position.
Hold on. If you're lying, you got to read the comment out loud. I think if they re-sign Lance, they might try to position it where he's a developmental quarterback. And if they use the trade as a draft pick, I wish they would play him so you can try to get that comp pick. So play him. So this is smart by Space. Play him, right? If he plays well, then another team will sign him. It's going to be a good veteran contract, right? And then if you don't sign a lot of people, that balances out that contract, you'll get that comp pick. So I get what Space is saying here.
Yeah, it makes 100% sense. We know what we have in Cooper Rush.
Yeah.
We don't know what we have in Trey Lance. We've never seen Trey Lance with ones. We also know when there's nothing there, we know he's going to take off. He's going to take off running. So that might especially help this young offensive line. And we have more invested in Trey Lance. So Trey Lance, in my 2 cents, he should be starting right now instead of Cooper Rush. That's just my 2 cents.
Well, it's a tough spot, right? because you're showing your team, hey, we're going to put the best guy in that can win. Cooper Rush is 5-1. Trey Lance is at 500, and that's not even with the Cowboys. So if you look at the body language that CeeDee Lamb showed when Cooper Rush went in, it was a different CeeDee Lamb body language. So I think you're going to see some people trying to buy in here. Cooper Rush versus what we saw from Trey Lance in the preseason.
Bro, can you imagine? Okay, so remember last time this happened, right? He went like what 5-0 or some crap like that.
5-1.
Yeah,
or 4-1. 4-1, but he's a 5-1 starter.
Yeah. So can you imagine if he comes out here, does a similar kind of thing? I was just gonna ruin our draft stock, and then
that would pick at 19, man. It's horrible.
Yeah, honestly, I wish that they would just listen to more what the fans are talking about. Like, we know this is a down year. Don't ruin the freaking draft stock, you idiots. You know what I mean?
I just the Mingo thing still blows my mind.
The Mingo thing is unbelievable, bro. That just makes me sick to my stomach. Sitting there watching all these picks come off the board last year was terrible, and we got to do it again.
Yeah,
is the 4th round pick the new 5th, 6th round pick? They used to give the 5th round pick like it was nothing.
They used to give it away. Yeah,
I know we got hit with inflation, but our draft picks they don't need to be in the inflation category.
And the crazy part is, I don't see any of the 30 other teams that weren't involved in this trade giving up a 4th for that kid. They would laugh at them and hang up on him.
Dude, yeah, it was. He's gonna have to show something, man, like right out the gate. If not, I mean, it's just gonna be.
The last question, he was talking about a defensive tackle, but the kid is a linebacker, Danny Stuntsman out of Oklahoma. He's a linebacker. Big kid, though. He's like 6'4", 250, but he's a linebacker. He's not a defensive tackle. Stuntsman. But he's a top 5. He's a top 5 linebacker. But he's an LB. The sad part is we're not one player away. That's why, I get trading Micah. I get it. This team is, in my opinion, 5, 6, 7 guys away from being a Super Bowl team. We have to see more how this young offensive line develops. Got to switch Guyton over to right tackle, get rid of Steele. BB's probably the right guard of the future. Now we're right back in there.
You don't think they'll keep BB at center?
It's going to depend at what his end of the year. It's going to depend. It's just my opinion, because if not, I mean, then we're right back in the same situation. We need a right guard then for next year. If the kid from Louisiana Tech, Rage Cajuns, Nathan Thomas, if he ain't the one,
is he still on the team?
I think they said he was on the practice squad.
Is he still in the practice?
Oh no, IR. They said.
Oh, okay. They snuck him on IR. Okay, that's good. That's good.
There's some big monster right tackles you can get later on in the draft, and in my opinion, I got no problem sliding you inside.
Let me ask you this: since we're talking about offensive line shuffle, does the new coach that's coming in here, because Mike McCarthy is going to be out, is that the key piece to move Tyler Guyton to the right side?
You got to ask Jerry that question, because I think no matter what coach comes in, it's going to be what Jerry wants. Because we've spoken about this before. He's such a psychopath. If the NFL allowed him, he would coach. He would be like Al Davis.
When we drafted Tyron Smith, he played the right side his rookie year, and then they moved him to the left.
Yeah.
Can this Tyler Guyton, because you have to get rid of Steele and get that $11 million cap savings. You have to.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Because you got CeeDee Lamb and you got Dak Prescott accounting for 46% of the cap. So you need to get every penny that you can.
Can you move Awesome Richards to right tackle?
Awesome Richards, he got a few snaps when Tyler Guyton went out. Dude, he didn't look bad. He was not getting moved in the snaps that Awesome Richards was in. I think I like that development, Joe.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Could he could he give you some sort of flexibility if he finally developed into something? But
in North Carolina, in college at North Carolina, he was a better pass blocker than run blocker. But we're 2 years removed from that, so he's gotten bigger, he's gotten stronger. So hopefully, he got that, more peanut butter and jelly sandwiches in him, and maybe we can develop him. But I just hate having the highest paid quarterback in the NFL and having question marks protecting him.
It was a mistake, man. They got bullied into it. They're scared, man.
Hey, the fans can't complain. This is who they wanted. They wanted Dak and they got him. So I don't want to hear nothing, man.
Space Cowboys lineup right now. He's saying right now should be Tyler Smith left, Cooper Beebe left guard, Brock Hoffman center, TJ Bass the right guard, and Tyler Guyton as the right tackle. So Space Cowboy is benching Terrence Steele and Zach Martin. I don't hate it.
I'm not saying I hate it, but remember when Zeke was on his millions and $1 million contract and he was out there limping? Jerry Jones is like he looks at it as straight business. I'm paying you $15 million, whatever. I don't care you're limping. You're going to be out there. You're going to play. He ain't paying Zach Martin $15-17 million to sit on the bench. He's not. And his back is messed up again. And listen, bad backs get worse.
Yeah.
They don't get better.
They definitely don't get better. So I think retirement is pretty close.
Yeah, he's gone.
Yeah, he's done. That's sad.
Yeah, this O-line could see another shuffle.
Yeah, 100%. And it takes time for a young offensive line to gel. People don't.
Yeah, that's for sure. Key part of it too is the next guy that comes in here, please bring an O-line coach who has something to him. I want the mauling style again. We're not mauling anybody. We're getting mauled.
I wonder if Mark Colombo is still out there coaching. He's got to be, at least if he's not in the NFL, he's got to be in college.
I think he would be on the radar if they made the Kellen Moore move.
I want to know what dirt Mike Solari has on Jerry and Mike.
What do you think about that, Danny? Does that make you want to throw up right there? It's gonna be on the table for the Joneses. I guarantee you, bro.
I know last year Kellen Moore's brother was the offensive coordinator at Missouri, and I'm like, he's better than Kellen. I'm trying to say, I don't know if he's still at Missouri, but the thought of Kellen Moore back at a head coach, I just see him getting stuffed in the locker. I don't see the players respecting a coach like him.
Well, Dak and Kellen looked at it. They were teammates.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
Then he came in being a quarterback coach.
Yeah.
Then he came in being the offensive coordinator. They see each other as ankles.
Yeah, he destroyed his ankle. Kellen Moore, and that took a preseason.
But the only skin on the wall for Kellen Moore is what he did at Boise.
You're right, but I just don't see the other players on the team. I could be mistaken. I could be wrong. Part of me thinks we do need young blood in there, but we also need somebody like he ain't going to take no garbage, like a disciplinarian, somebody that's going to, a motivator is a better way to look at it.
What's your thoughts on Chucky?
Gruden.
Yeah.
Oh, John Gruden. Shout out to Fifth Quarter Cowboys. He's over there thinking,
Cherry loves second and third chances.
There's gonna be a lot of names that are gonna be flying around. You got.
He loves giving chances.
You got what's the guy you like, Mike? Old boy from Tennessee. What was his name? Vrabel.
Mike Vrabel. Still a fan of Vrabel.
I like
Vrabel too.
He's a no nonsense, big ass tough coach. They said the reason he didn't get a job was he intimidated all the owners.
Which is ridiculous. You want that figure on the field.
That's Dan Campbell 2.0, Vrabel.
Yeah, you want that guy.
There's been a lot of talk on Twitter today about Ben Johnson wanting $20 million a year. I think, I said this on last week's Fiscal Report. I told Joe, I said, I think Jerry already has his guy picked.
I don't think college coaches make more than NFL coaches. I don't even think a college coach makes $20 million a year.
Yeah,
But-
Jerry won't. I don't think Jerry will go to college guy.
No, he wants somebody that has skins on the wall. I mean, look at his track record. That's just what he does. Bill Parcells, like his chance and his development guy was Jason Garrett. That's why Jason Garrett is Jimmy's longest coach, is because Jerry wanted Jason Garrett to be that guy, and it never panned out, and that's why he's in a Sunday night football booth and not on a team or in college. Duke didn't even want him.
Yeah, you're right. The most disappointing part about Jason Garrett was he played under Jimmy Johnson. So he saw the way Jimmy Johnson ran camp, ran off-season drills, ran during the season, ran a playbook. How do you not grab like a little bit of this guy, a little bit of that guy, a little bit of that guy, instead of just standing on, and clapping on the sidelines? And all
Bubble gum.
Jason Garrett, all he wanted to do was draft choir boys. If you
Shout out fifth quarter Cowboys.
You want to address that comment, Joe?
Shout out fifth quarter Cowboys, bro. That's our guy.
Cowboys in the house.
Yeah, we gotta get fifth quarter here on one of our shows here soon, man. Yeah, Ben Johnson. They're looking at Eberflus kind of screwing up there with Caleb Williams, bringing in Ben Johnson to take him to the next levels. I kind of see that as being where he might want to go, man.
Well, I can see Space Cowboys comment he just put. I can see that.
Man, we got to get rid of these old dudes, man. Zimmer.
Nah, it's going to be Zimmer.
I was hyped for Zimmer coming in, but Zimmer hasn't done anything for me. I like that he benches guys, but it's just an excuse week after week after week after week. And then the one thing I don't like about Zimmer, and maybe it's just the ball bounced our way. We're -7 in the takeaways. We're -7. Dan Quinn, we weren't in the minus period. Mike Zimmer has to find a way to get the turnovers, and he's not doing that. I need a guy that's going to come in here and bring that mindset back to this defense.
Well,
but honestly feel that he's going to be the guy that's going to stick around here, that they're going to force him onto the next coach. I have a feeling.
But would you rather have the turnovers or a coach who can stop the run?
You can get both if you have a good coach.
But if you had to pick one,
give me the turnovers. That's going to give the ball back to your offense to go score points.
I agree with you there. The only bad part about turnovers is it's not consistent.
It was with Dan Quinn.
Yeah, it's not consistent, and then you got to rely on this offense that's kind of wishy-washy.
Exactly.
Dude, it drives me crazy. We get something or we make a stop, and we don't do anything with it.
But that's why I do want a defensive coach, right? Whether that's head coach and defensive coordinator, but I need somebody to come in here fresh with this head coach and just bring a whole new element to this offense, because it's so generic. It's so dummied down. Like, challenge your $60 million quarterback, bring in a new playbook, bring in a new scheme, and if he can't do it, the writing's on the wall. Russell Wilson his ass and start over.
But that's what I'm saying about the Kellen Moore thing. We've seen what he's done as an offensive coordinator, so he's going to bring the exact same playbook back. And
it seems like he's doing pretty good right now with Philly, right?
But that's not his playbook. That's Philly's playbook.
Who?
Kellen Moore.
Uh-huh.
That's Philly. That's Philly's playbook. All Kellen Moore did was manage that playbook and spread it out, because the Eagles weren't running the ball last year. They just kept being pass happy. So they brought Kellen Moore in to keep that same offense, but to balance out that playbook. Kellen Moore's language, Kellen Moore's deal is to the side. This is the Eagles playbook that Kellen Moore is managing.
Yeah, so that's the thing, but he could bring those concepts over here with him. So,
listen, I would have no problem with a guy like Vrabel, and then just give me a separate OC and a separate DC.
That's what
I want Vrabel as the defensive coordinator. I don't want him as a head coach.
I wouldn't have a problem with that, but then he's going to look to switch to 3-4, and that's one of the problems we ran into when Parcells came into Dallas. Very, very, very few colleges run 3-4 defenses, so it's a lot harder to get 3-4 personnel. And to be honest with you,
that fast, absolutely.
To be honest with you, in Parcells' whole tenure in Dallas, we really never had true 3-4 personnel on the team. It was just he made it work a little bit, but we never really had true 3-4. And he went and drafted defensive linemen, brought guys over from the Jets, and and especially today in college, unless you're going to Iowa, you got a kid Jay Higgins, 245 monster. The majority of linebackers in college, the number one linebacker is Harold Perkins. He's a safety to me. He's out of LSU. He's 210 pounds, and he blew his knee out. And he's probably going to go to the end of the first round. I just hope we don't take him. Dallas, whoever scouts Michigan and LSU for Dallas should be fired, in my opinion. But
I've been calling for churning up these scouts and McClay and just like they're terrible, bro. They are just the Charles Tappers, all these guys that they just coming in here.
If you see Dallas scouts, like you see their last names, and a lot of their last names are very, very familiar.
Well, Josh Brent, who killed a teammate, is on the scout team.
He was so. Think about how about we're having a meeting right now about a defensive tackle, and Josh Brent gets up and says, "I don't know about him. I think he has off the field issues." I mean, like, what do you really do at that point? I mean, I get it. Jerry had Leon Lett. Leon Lett was a great defensive tackle, awesome. He had him as one of his D-line coaches for a long time. But man, it's just the hardest part is it starts at the top.
That's what it is. We need a new front office. We need a new culture. That's what it is. You mean to tell me we've had all these Jerry's the number one GM since '95 to have all these Pro Bowlers, and we don't have anything to show for it before playoff wins.
But sometimes I think is the Pro Bowlers product of the Dallas hype machine. Because let's be honest, if Hassan Reddick was on Dallas the last 3 years, he'd be on the cover. Everybody would be talking about this guy. Everybody would be talking about him. Sometimes I just think listen, if you're the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys, that's the hardest job in all sports, every sport there is. And if you play for the Dallas, you're under the microscope. I just think a lot of times we just overhype a lot of players.
Oh, no, definitely. They're definitely overhyped. And then with the new age of social media and everybody wants to be seen.
It's because of how big our fan base is. Our fan base is
worldwide.
Yeah. No, that's what it is, bros. But I think we're at a good stopping point here, guys. We talked a little bit on some young quarterbacks to keep an eye on here for the draft. Will the Cowboys draft one, considering how Dak is getting beat up now? Probably not, but if you're a smart franchise, you probably start doing it, right?
Gotta try.
We're not smart.
So
it's right.
It's a crazy deal, bro. It's a crazy deal, man. But guys, let everybody know where they can find you if they haven't already.
Go ahead, Savage.
I'm simple. Danny Savage, Draft Guru on YouTube, Danny Savage, Draft Guru on Twitter, and Danny Savage, Draft Guru on Instagram.
Tell the people how many players that you've already got on YouTube.
I'm 425 players deep already, and my goal is, and I'll get there. It'll be 800, but it'll be 800 before the Beast comes out. Because even last year, I stopped putting out anything once Dane Brugler put out his Beast, because I'm not a copy and paste champion, and I stand on that. So my goal is 800, but I'm at 425.
There you go.
I'll be dropping 5 more tomorrow.
Dude, we got the real draft coverage here, man. You want to talk about, we give you guys the real perspectives, draft targets, and we got Danny Savage here now in the mix. This is where you guys are going to want to come for your coverage this year, man. You know what I mean? We don't
I appreciate it. I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. I truly do. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Mike.
Yeah, and you can also find Danny Savage on Talking Crazy on Saturdays.
Every Saturday.
Freaky Friday on Fifth Quarter Cowboys channel. You can find him there too. But no, Cowboys Corner right here on YouTube. I'm like 40 subscribers away from 5K. You help your boy out. Hit that subscription. It's free. All right. Come to the corner. Oh, underscore Cowboys Corner on Elon Musk's page.
That's where we're at, guys. Man, we appreciate everybody in the chat box. Pound that like button on the way out. Subscribe to all my boys' pages, man. These guys, we're all doing what we do because we love this team.
We love the Cowboys.
But we're gonna talk real about them. You know what I mean? But that's all we have tonight, guys. Peace out, dude.
Peace out.